This is a weapon no bigger than a single proton, but with the power to destroy a star. It requires a particle accelerator so long it spans the entire star system. Designed to launch a single subatomic projectile, it pushes it so close to the speed of light that on impact, it can unleash a devastating effect. When ready, the needle is released. It leaves its home system with thunder, but crosses the cosmic void in absolute silence. Because it's incredibly small, it will maintain its launch speed until it hits the target. A large object traveling near light speed would constantly collide with hydrogen atoms in the interstellar medium and eventually slow down. But something this small, it can travel for light years without hitting anything. In the three-body problem universe, this superweapon is called a photoid, and many alien civilizations use it to wipe out entire star systems. It's also known by another name, a mass dot. This is because it's essentially just a dot with the lowest possible mass. One of the main reasons it's used instead of a large relativistic missile is that a subatomic one is impossible to trace back to its source. On top of that, it wouldn't require absurd amounts of shielding to withstand interstellar medium collisions on its way to the target, nor would it need to expend immense amounts of energy on onboard propulsion to counteract the drag caused by those collisions. And when it comes to destructive power, what matters isn't size. It's how much kinetic energy is packed into it through velocity. The smaller the mass, the faster it must travel to achieve the same destructive effect. But at the same time, it becomes correspondingly less costly to accelerate. In simple terms, whether you strike the sun with a star-sized object at moderate speed, or with a microscopic particle moving near the speed of light, the total energy required is essentially the same. This is known as an isoenergetic mass-velocity trade-off, and it's what makes photoids potentially possible. Although active defense against this weapon is virtually impossible, passive defense may be very effective. The most obvious solution would be to shield the sun itself. However, since that would require more raw material than exists in the entire solar system, a more practical approach would be to place smaller shields only along the lines connecting the sun and nearby alien accelerators. The farther a shield is from the sun, the smaller it can be to cover the sun's cross-section. However, these shields would need to be long cylinders rather than flat disks to ensure that a subatomic projectile actually collides with the material inside, rather than slip through the empty spaces between atoms. These structures would look like black pillars in the void, each one pointing toward a different star. They would absorb or deflect any subatomic projectile approaching from that direction. For a Type 1 civilization, constructing such a system would be entirely feasible, and shielding Earth would be even simpler. Because Earth's cross-section is so tiny even from Mars' distance, the protective cylinder wouldn't need to be more than a few meters wide. Such a system would not prevent all forms of cosmic attacks, but it could significantly reduce the risk from directional weapons traveling across interstellar distances. The hard part is knowing where to aim these cylinders. To make them effective, we'd need the exact coordinates of every particle accelerator in our galactic neighborhood. And while these accelerators can stretch across entire star systems, they're only a few meters in diameter, making them effectively invisible to even planet-sized telescopes. This means we'd need reconnaissance probes in every star system within 100 light-years radius, which is no small feat. Meanwhile, in the three-body problem universe, once the existence of such weapons becomes known, civilizations begin constructing habitats in the shadows of massive gas giants as a last resort. But this kind of shelter can only protect them from the initial blast if a photoid happens to slip through the shields. Once a star goes supernova, it loses its gravitational well, and all the gas giants in orbit are cast adrift. In other words, these colonies might survive the explosion itself, but soon after they would find themselves homeless, forced to search for another star to call home. Some large civilizations even use photoids to turn unstable three-body star systems into stable ones as a long-term colonization policy. In the process of this cosmic engineering, many smaller civilizations are wiped out, not out of malice, but simply for being ants on a construction site. Because the main principle of the dark forest is to stay hidden, subatomic projectiles may be the most widely used interstellar weapon. A death ray is much simpler and more straightforward method to destroy a star, but a high-intensity beam would be visible across the galaxy and would immediately reveal the attacker's position. A dimension strike is more powerful, but for a civilization without superluminal propulsion, escaping the collapse front makes such a weapon catastrophic for everyone involved. One option is releasing self-replicating nanobots that multiply on arrival by consuming local matter. Their growth starts slowly, but by the time they're detectable, it may be too late to stop them. The downside is slow delivery and execution. These macroscopic bots can't reach relativistic speeds, so the trip and their early, gradual growth gives a targeted civilization time to escape. The only weapon that might compete is a black marker, an unnatural geometric object constructed near a star to create an anomalous transit signature. Such signature would make the system appear inhabited by a spacefaring species, provoking other civilizations to preemptively destroy it, essentially weaponizing the dark forest condition itself. Right now, our best particle accelerator is the Large Hadron Collider. It's 27 kilometers long, and it can make protons go close to the speed of light, but not nearly close enough to destroy an apple, let alone a star. To give a proton-sized object enough energy to blow up the sun with our current level of technology, we would need an accelerator much larger than the observable universe. However, that argument is like a medieval archer saying that for an arrow to topple a castle, you'd need a mountain-sized bow. They couldn't imagine an arrow like a nuclear warhead, propelled by chemical engines, able to destroy an entire city. A far more advanced civilization will undoubtedly possess technologies that could, in theory, enable the basic idea behind this weapon. Although impossible with our current understanding of physics, photoids are nonetheless plausible because every civilization has incentive to develop them. They are, in many ways, a perfect interstellar weapon. A massive fleet can be tracked, a large weapon can be intercepted, but a proton-sized projectile carrying star-level energy is essentially invisible and untraceable. That's why, in a galaxy full of advanced civilizations, this is the kind of weapon they might actually use as the safest way to deliver catastrophic power across the stars.